The movie begins with 7-year-old Wen vacationing with her parents, Eric and Andrew, at a secluded cabin in rural Pennsylvania. While catching grasshoppers, Wen encounters a stranger named Leonard. Initially cautious, Wen tells Leonard that she doesn't talk to strangers. However, he insists that he's there to be her friend and helps her catch grasshoppers to gain her trust. Although Leonard seems worried, he asks Wen some questions without revealing too much. Leonard confides in Wen, mentioning that his heart is broken because of what he has to do that day. Suddenly, 3 other individuals appear, armed with makeshift weapons. Leonard instructs Wen to remember that he is her friend, no matter what happens. Sensing something amiss, Wen becomes suspicious and hurries to her dad's, insisting that they come inside immediately. She warns them about the scary strangers who want to enter the cabin. Eric and Andrew try to calm Wen down, assuming she is exaggerating. However, she reveals that there are 4 strangers, with Leonard being the leader, and insists that they need help. Just as they hesitate to open the door, 7 knocks resound from outside. Leonard informs them that he and his associates are present and implores them to open the door, emphasizing that they are trying to save a significant number of people. Eric expresses their desire to be left alone, but Leonard insists that their assistance is crucial. Andrew attempts to contact the police, only to discover that there is no dial tone, adding to the tension. Despite their reluctance to open the door, the intruders persist and attempt to break into the house. In the ensuing struggle, Sabrina unintentionally knocks Eric unconscious while defending herself. Andrew manages to overpower Redmond in a fight, but Leonard and Adriane enter the house, compelling Andrew to cease his resistance. The intruders secure Eric and Andrew to chairs, rendering them captive. Leonard reveals that their purpose in being there is to prevent an impending apocalypse. He claims that with Eric and Andrew's help, they can stop the catastrophe from occurring. Although hesitant, Leonard insists that they are the key to success and offers a grave request for their cooperation. Eric shares his suspicion of experiencing a psychological break, questioning the reality of the situation. Leonard reveals that in order to prevent the apocalypse, their family must willingly choose and sacrifice one of the 3 of them. Failing to make a choice or follow through with the sacrifice would result in the end of the world, leaving them as the sole survivors on a devastated planet. The weight of this impossible decision weighs heavily on them. Andrew firmly rejects the notion of choosing and sacrificing anyone. Leonard counters, explaining that their visions have led them to each other and this specific cabin for a reason. He claims that if they refuse to make a sacrifice, the consequences they have witnessed will be unleashed upon the world. Leonard warns of rising oceans, a rampant pandemic, a falling sky, and enveloping darkness. Eric and Andrew suspect the group's motives are rooted in hatred and delusion. In a shocking turn of events, Redmond kneels before them and covers his head with a cloth. He explains that a part of humanity has been judged before they beat him to death with their weapons, with Leonard ultimately decapitating him. The family is horrified by the brutality they've witnessed. Leonard and Adriane then remove Redmond's body from the house, while Sabrina cleans the blood from the floor. Leonard returns and changes the TV channel, revealing media reports showcasing devastating mega tsunamis. As they watch footage shot minutes ago from Cannon Beach, the family is struck with a chilling realization. Adriane and Sabrina claim that this catastrophic scene aligns with what they witnessed in their visions. The terrifying events unfolding on the screen validate the severity of the situation and the urgency of their decision. The family grapples with the haunting reality that their visions may indeed be prophetic. Sabrina turns off the TV, signaling a break from the distressing footage. Leonard declares that the next morning they must choose sacrifice to save the world. Andrew confides in Eric, suspecting that the group has been meticulously orchestrating the events. He assures Eric that he doesn't want him to be spooked. Meanwhile, Wen manages to escape from the cabin and runs into the woods. However, Leonard quickly apprehends her and brings her back to the cabin. Andrew recognizes Redmond as Rory O'Bannon, a homophobic individual who had assaulted him in a bar years ago, leading to Rory's imprisonment. Andrew believes that Rory has tracked him down for revenge. Leonard, Sabrina, and Adriane question Andrew's assumption while still holding on to their visions. They grapple with their guilt but remain steadfast in their belief in the prophetic nature of their visions. The next day, Leonard urges them to make their decisions quickly. Eric, attempting to cut his rope with a knife, engages in a tense conversation with Adriane. She reveals that she is the next one to be sacrificed and appeals to Eric, counting on him. However, Eric counters, offering her the opportunity to walk out without consequences. Adriane discloses that she had to watch her dying son repeatedly over the past few days, emphasizing that this is indeed a real and dire situation. As tensions rise, Andrew demands that they stop manipulating Eric and asserts that they won't comply with their demands. Adriane kneels, covering her head with a cloth, and proclaims that a part of humanity has been judged. They proceed to kill and sacrifice her. Leonard removes Adriane's body from the room to spare them from seeing her. They then switch on the TV and witness a news report about the outbreak of the novel X9 virus, specifically lethal to children. The situation intensifies as the family faces the devastating consequences of their choices and the gravity of the impending apocalypse. Eric shares his unsettling experience of seeing a person or figure behind Leonard while standing behind Redmond. Leonard inquires about the location, and Andrew confirms it was in the light behind him. Andrew tries to calm Eric, attributing the sighting to extreme stress, and urges him to take deep breaths. He further asserts that the X9 cases they have read about are not a plague but a pre-programmed show deliberately integrated into their narrative by the intruders. Amidst the mounting tension, Gwen suddenly starts screaming, demanding to watch her cartoon. Leonard attempts to pacify her, but she continues to insist on her request. Eric seizes the opportunity and frees himself, launching an attack against the intruders. Simultaneously, Andrew manages to free himself and dashes his car. However, Sabrina intervenes, knocking him down and revealing that she purposely struck his knee to prevent his escape. Andrew, determined to protect himself, throws soil into Sabrina's eyes, temporarily blinding her. He quickly locks himself inside his car, retrieving a gun for self-defense. When Sabrina attempts to reach him, Andrew fires a warning shot, commanding her to drop her weapon and back away. She retreats into the woods, leaving Andrew with a fleeting sense of safety. He then returns to the cabin and demands Leonard drop his weapon and move away from Eric. As the situation intensifies, the dynamics within the group shift, revealing Eric and Andrew's willingness to fight back and confront the intruders. The unfolding events underscore the growing distrust and suspicion as the family fights for their survival against those who claim to know the fate of the world. Leonard asserts that he is dooming them all and insists it's time for the next sacrifice, prompting him to ask Andrew if he is willing to make a choice. Andrew, determined to protect his family, declares that he is taking them and leaving. Sabrina rushes toward Andrew, but he shoots and kills her. Leonard covers Sabrina's head with a cloth, challenging them once again to make a sacrifice. When Andrew refuses, Leonard decapitates Sabrina. Andrew steps outside to check Redmond's wallet and proves to Leonard that he was indeed Rory by showing his ID. He states that he is not a murderer like them and locks Leonard in the bathroom. Andrew reveals to Eric that their tires were slashed but suggests they use the intruder's truck as their means of escape. They lock Leonard in the bathroom, but their relief is short-lived when they hear glass shattering, indicating that Leonard might have escaped. Andrew cautiously opens the bathroom door to check, but to his surprise, Leonard jumps on him from behind the curtain and overpowers him. In the struggle, Leonard manages to steal Andrew's gun. He urges Eric to turn on the TV for convincing evidence. As Eric switches on the television, a chilling broadcast reveals spontaneous plane crashes occurring worldwide. Eric connects the event to his earlier fear that the skies will fall and crash to the earth like pieces of glass. The reporter confirms that as many as 700 airplanes have crashed without warning. Despite witnessing the horrific broadcast, Andrew remains skeptical and insists on leaving with his family. Eric challenges Andrew, questioning if he truly believes that everything that happened is merely a coincidence. Andrew tentatively answers yes, stating that it must be some sort of trick. Leonard then implores them to join him on the back deck, claiming that the final act must be performed outside. He emphasizes that they will only have minutes to stop everything. Leonard slashes his own throat, proclaiming that all of humanity has been judged. As he breathes his last, lightning causes fires to ignite and more planes to crash, intensifying the devastation. Eric, finally convinced by the unfolding events, acknowledges the reality of the situation and the presence of the figure in the light. The family is left in shock and must now confront the terrifying truth that their lives are intertwined with an unfolding apocalypse. Andrew proposes that they leave immediately, believing Leonard's claims. However, Eric argues that this wasn't a home invasion but an opportunity for them to connect and learn from the intruders, who symbolize different aspects of humanity. Redmond representing malice, Adriane nurturing, Sabrina healing, and Leonard's guidance. Reluctantly, Eric offers himself as the sacrifice, convinced that their family was chosen due to their pure love. Andrew, filled with anguish, shoots and kills Eric. Andrew joins Wen at her treehouse, where she asks if Daddy Eric saved everyone. As they witness the cabin engulfed in flames struck by lightning, Andrew and Wen drive away in the visitor's truck. They find refuge in a crowded diner, watching news reports confirming the subsiding of the disasters that had plagued the world. Returning to the truck, they hear music playing on the radio, a song called Boogie Shoes by KC and the Sunshine Band, the same song Eric had played for them during their drive to the cabin. In the aftermath of the sacrifices and destruction, Andrew and Wen embark on a journey to rebuild their lives and find solace. The familiar song brings a bittersweet reminder of the love they shared with Eric.